Yo. Hey, everybody. I'm Nate Warnock.
I'm Andrea Warnock.
And this is our Sunday Night Live event. Every Sunday night, we hang out for 20 or 30 minutes or so with y'all and just get to say hi and answer any questions that you have about marriage, about family, have a little fun along the way. That's really the purpose of it.
Importantly, though, is today, this Sunday night, is Nathan's birthday.
That's right.
Turning something.
Yeah, 20.
He's turning 20 again. That's amazing.
21, one more year and I can drink.
You accomplished a lot in 20 years.
You know I have. Yikes, 20. I don't even remember what it's like to be 20. So I was talking about this today. So there's something about like passing the age when your parents had you. I was talking about this with a friend tonight, which was a long time ago for me. I didn't just do that. I'm the oldest, so my parents had me when they were mid-20s. Yeah, and so I passed them quite some time ago. I'm turning 38 today. 37. Whoa. That's when you know you're old, when you have lost track of the years.
Easy to lose track.
I told a lot of people today I was turning 38. Yikes.
You lost a year.
Yeah, I did.
No.
Whoa.
You're 30,
intense.
You're really getting pretty old.
Yeah. Hey, not as old as I thought I was.
Yeah. You gained a year.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah, so today is Nathan's birthday. Happy birthday.
Thanks, babe.
It's been kind of a crazy, busy one.
Yeah, it has.
It's been unfortunate, but
a couple baseball games today. Wedding shower you were kind of in charge of, or at least contributing to being in charge of, and then we got to hang out a little bit this afternoon.
Yep, but it was great and fun to celebrate Nathan. Nathan is one of the best men you would ever meet if you ever met him or get to meet him.
Thanks, baby.
You're extremely genuine and you are who you appear to be.
Thanks, babe.
And you're totally grace-filled and patient and a fantastic husband and father.
That's sweet.
He's the best. I've often said to him, if he were to ever die, I don't know that I would even date because there's just not a chance that I could find somebody like him. So he's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Happy birthday. I love
you. Thanks, babe. Love you too. Tell me some more about me.
I could go on for a long time.
I'm kidding. Don't nobody want to hear that. Hey, thanks, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. So here's the flow of the show. Love you to say what's up in the comments so that we know who's joining us. We get to see, like I say every week, we get to see the number of people that jump in and out of the stream, but I don't get to see who you are. So love to have you just say hi, even if you're just popping in, right? You might have been scrolling down on Facebook and just saw us and stopped in for a minute. Love you to say hi. If you have questions about marriage, about family life, we'd love to answer those. That's what the Marriage by Design podcast is all about. If you don't know about the Marriage by Design podcast, that is a podcast you can find on YouTube or you can find on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts. We put out new content every Monday morning. That's marriage-related content on Marriage Mondays. And we put out family-related content every Friday. That's what we call our Family Friday. So that's what we do. So on Sundays, it's just our chance to kind of connect with you guys, answer any questions that you have, and kind of go from there. So one thing that we have been doing the last few weeks on our Sunday Night Live, and as I'm looking here, I'm seeing I need to be more serious about sunscreen.
I noticed that.
Whilst coaching.
I'm the one who harps on him.
Whoa.
Yes, I know.
Look at that.
I harp on him all summer long about sunscreen and reapplying and all that. You never take it that seriously. You're gonna look like.
Hey, I've made it to 38.
37.
I haven't made it to 37. I've made it to 38. I have made it to 37.
I know you're gonna look like you're 50 next year because you're gonna have so much sun it's gonna wrinkle your skin like crazy. You're getting skin cancer.
So distinguished.
Yeah, I'm the one who's always harping on him. Well, you can probably tell because I'm white as it goes. I'm the sunscreen crazy lady.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do first. We have this book, wham, 3,000 questions about me. So what I want you to do is any of these folks that are here in the chat, put a number between 1 and 3,000 in the chat. Whomever, it can be whatever number you want, right? Just put a number in there between 1 and 3,000, and we will show you how this works. First person to put one in there will go with that. We'll do 2 or 3 of these questions, and love you guys to answer the questions as well as we read them out. So feel free to put a number in there. If we don't get one here pretty quick, and I know it's on a delay, then we'll have Andrea pick a number and we'll do it that way. But we'll do 2 or 3 of these. This book is great for icebreaker questions. It's great for sort of ice breaking a date, even if you're dating someone that you've been dating for a really long time, because
Or dating your spouse.
right. Well, that's what I mean. Because sometimes with the hubbub of just life, those dates, even with your spouse, can start a little bit awkward because you've been going about the day and taking care of the kids and doing work and getting the kids from daycare or school or whatever the case may be. And so this is a good way to kind of kick that off. So Dave,
Sure.
pick a number.
Okay, we'll do 418.
418. Good call, babe. 418. Okay, this one says. Now, love you as you're hearing this in the chat. If you have access to your keyboard, if you have it, like if you're actually listening or if it's just on the background, whatever, answer this as well in the chat. What dish or food usually What dish or food usually served hot do you think is better cold?
Nothing.
There's no hot dish that you like to eat cold?
No.
Really? Nothing.
No. Not that I can think of.
Man, okay. So who's with me on this? I could eat cold pizza just fine. Like cold pizza doesn't. I think it's great.
Nope.
Even cold pizza for breakfast. Oh yeah, I'm down with it.
Mm.
Yeah, cold pizza I'm good with. Cold macaroni and cheese. I'm good with cold macaroni and cheese. That's fine. Let's see. Other dishes usually served hot that I'm good with cold. Yeah, I mean those are really the main ones. The thing that's tough for me is meat. Like something that's got a lot like I'm not gonna eat just a steak cold. I know those people are out there that are cool just eating like chicken cold or steak or whatever. I can't roll with that. That isn't gonna work for me.
I can think of nothing that I would want to eat cold that I would prefer cold when it's normally served hot. Nope.
Really?
Nothing.
Oh, all right. Well, that's boring.
I know. Sorry, that was boring answer.
That's all right. Okay, how about let's do 2020.
Okay.
2021.
2021.
Let's do 2021.
No one wants to give us a number?
It's all these shy folks in the chat. 2021. We have definitely already done this one, so let's pick a new number. This is the one about being bullied.
2002.
2002. Have you ever gotten a warning about someone or something and ignored it? What was it? So have you ever gotten like a warning about something and ignored that warning? And then
I understand the question.
Well, it's kind
I'm
of weird
sure.
to say that to someone.
I'm sure. Yeah. Definitely guys that I dated in the past.
Oh, whoa. But you dated other people in the past?
No, it was only video.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what did that look like then? What do you mean by that?
What?
We could explain that.
Well, so some of the guys that I had dated in the past, I had friends or family that, hey JJ, I had friends or family that had said, man, this guy is no good, or why are you dating this person, or whatever, and I just like, that. So.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's good.
Would have been better for me if I'd probably listened to them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
I mean, if we're going to be all, more morality about this. I mean, for sure, back in the day, the first 8 years of our marriage was essentially one warning after another about how much of a wreck marriage was going to be if I didn't get my life together. And spoiler alert, if you've not listened to much on our channel, I did not heed those warnings. So totally, yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Is there something less heavy that you were
Let's
thinking of?
see. Well,
I mean, I've sometimes not listened to Yelp reviews and gone to a place anyway and regretted it.
Sure. Sure, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Why?
Yeah.
I'm not sure why. People
So I can share one. This is
Mhm.
very sad and very personal, so don't laugh as you listen to this. But there was a time when I was much younger when there was someone who was offering he was doing one of those crowdfunding sites. And he was trying to raise
Oh
money.
my gosh,
He was
guys.
he was trying to raise money to build board gaming tables. Okay, so he had this really cool idea, board gaming table that has like built-in like AC adapters
I
in
feel
the
like we need
table
a sign
and
above your head that says Nerd Alert right now.
and
I feel
USB.
like it needs to be a
Hey,
flashing Nerd
it's
Alert
fine.
sign right now.
They're in the chat. They're here.
like-
They're here. Nerds
oh
of
my
one.
gosh.
The nerds of one. Okay, and it had USB plugs and it was awesome. It had built-in lights around the edge and it was great. But he had never done anything before. So if you've ever done any of those like Kickstarter or any of those crowdfunding sort of sites, you always, like step one is you look at the person to see what have they done in the past. So I can tell, am I being sold a bill of goods or what am I doing? So of course I did that. And he had never done anything in the past. And he was very upfront about that. But this table wasn't very expensive. So
It was
So-
$850.
so
I
we
mean, that's a good chunk of change.
so at Andrea's pleading, we backed this.
I said I don't think that it's a good idea, and I don't
Right.
think that we should do it.
Right.
But if you really want to, then go ahead.
Right, that was the warning, by the way. So we did it. So we backed it, and it turned out to be a disaster.
So
No
we bought,
gaming table and no money back.
for $850. We bought the idea of a great gaming table
That's
for
right.
$850.
That's right. It's a steal. Those ideas don't come cheap. So there was probably one where I ignored a lot of warnings. But yeah, so that's how that turned out.
That was an expensive mistake.
That's right. So let's do one more. If you just jumped in, we're doing this book, 3,000 Questions About Me. And we usually start off these Sunday Night Lives by just picking 3 or 4 numbers and asking the question and giving you guys a chance to jump in and comment. JJ, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, buddy. I hope all's going well at the church and that you're getting everybody in line up there. I know you're going to do an amazing job. So that's great. I'm so excited to hear how it goes. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, let's do Jackson's birthday, which
May 20th.
is May 20th. So that would be
5/20.
5/20. So such an esoteric question. How modern are you? Are you a modern woman, babe?
No, I'm very traditional.
Very traditional. We still cast her out of the house for a week when she goes on her period. We're very traditional. Very
Please
traditional.
do.
That's a good point. That's true.
Please do. It's a funny question because it's like, what's considered modern? And
That's
what's
what I mean.
Considered traditional, like traditional. How many years ago? 50 years ago? What do we consider
You see?
traditional and modern? So it's kind of a silly question.
Yeah.
I would say our roles fall in definitely the traditional.
Yeah, probably not
roles
modern.
because that's the way our flow is.
Yeah.
That's just what works for us.
Yeah.
Somebody yelling.
That's true.
Wonderful.
That's okay. That'll be okay.
And I think my ideals are probably traditional.
Okay.
I look
You look.
frumpy. Like I look like
That's not true.
no, not frumpy. I mean, I look like not modern most of the time. So yeah.
You wear clothing. Is that what makes you not modern?
No.
I mean, that's kind of a modern trend. I'll be honest.
That's not true necessarily. So yeah, I would say we're traditional.
Yeah. Oh, this is good. Sean, this is a good question. Okay, so Sean, who is a cousin of mine, asked, have I ever shown Andrea and Jackson the old farm? So this is a good question for you. So what he's referencing there, and I'd love to hear you guys' experiences too, because so we live in the Midwest. If you're watching this from outside of here locally where we live. So my grandparents, as a lot of people's grandparents, honestly, here in the Midwest, lived on like a big acreage farm. They had, if I remember right, 72, I think, acres of land that I spent all my growing up years running around on and doing all the stuff. So he's asking, have I ever shown Andrea and Jackson, or any of the rest of the kids for that matter, the old farm? And the answer to that, at least as far as Jackson and the rest of the kids go, is no. Have you and I ever been by the farm?
Yep.
Really? In 15 years of marriage? Although it's it's about an hour and a half from where we live. So, Sean, that's a good call, dude. We should probably go. I mean, it'd be cool. Yeah, it'd be cool to show, just because my mom, who is Sean's aunt, grew up there in the town. So it would be cool to go. Yeah, and Sean's dad. That's right. Grew up there. So you're right. It would be cool, Sean, to do that. That's a good call.
Nathan, how modern are you?
Not modern. I mean, I'm a pretty sort of cowboyish at heart, kind of old soul sort of guy. Right. I think. You think? I mean, you even accused me of like grandma driving all the time.
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, so, he's not modern at all.
No, I'm not. That's right.
Okay, I can't take the yelling, so I'll be
right back. Oh, somebody's in trouble.
I just don't know.
All right, so I want to talk real quick about the shows that we did this last week, so that you guys kind of have an idea of what we did. Love to have you go check these out if you have a moment to go take a look. So as I mentioned in the beginning, and as many of you I know, we come out with 2 shows every week, a show on Monday and a show on Friday. The show on Monday that we came out with this week, we're super excited. We're going through in Galatians 5:22 and 23 in the New Testament. Paul's talking about the fruits of the Spirit. And we hear a lot about the fruits of the Spirit from the standpoint of how we live those out personally. But we're taking a look at the fruits of the Spirit from the standpoint of what does this look like for us as a couple. And so we started a couple weeks ago with love. And then this last week, we started talking about joy. And what does it look like to have joy in our marriages? And so I will put a link to that here so that you guys can check that out. Love to have you guys check it out and let us know what you think. But what does it mean well, first of all, what does that mean, joy, that word joy? What does that mean in the Bible, right? Because in our own lives and experiences, we can think about joy and think of that it's equal between happiness and joy. Those are both kind of the same thing, but biblically they're not. And so we spent some time taking a look at that and talking about what joy looks like in our marriage. Man, guys, I would just please take the time to sit down with your spouse and watch that video and talk honestly with each other about, do we have joy in our relationship? If yes, great. If no, what can we do to bring more joy in our relationship? Because your marriage might be good, but if you can really take a season and focus in on growing the fruits of the Spirit in your marriage, your relationship will go from good to amazing in a really short amount of time. Which leads to what we will be talking about tomorrow morning when the episode comes out. They always come out at 5 o'clock in the morning, so they should be ready to roll by the time you wake up, unless you are a really early bird. But tomorrow morning we'll be talking about peace. And surprisingly, peace doesn't mean what you think it means. And I would love to take time to put a poll out right now and have everybody that's watching on YouTube or Facebook or wherever tell us what you think peace means in the Bible. But I would be willing to bet nobody would answer it correctly. Yeah. I was super surprised when I saw what the definition of the Greek word for peace, what that definition was, and the definition of the Hebrew word for peace, which a lot of us know, is shalom. So I'd love to have you guys listen to that, and hopefully I've teased it out for you well enough to have you give us a listen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Family Friday. What did we talk about last week?
Yeah, so Family Friday is, what we talked about was generational sin, which we kind of went through a discussion about what that really is in the Bible and what maybe the hang-ups of that have been in terms of what a lot of Christians believe that to be, and then just talking through that, and then how we combat those sorts of things with our kids. Yeah, it's good. I think one of the great things of going through that episode was realizing, the Bible, in talking about generational sin, is not saying that that future generations are going to pay for the sins of the fathers. So it's not that the kids are saddled with the same, a guaranteed saddled with the same sin as their fathers. That's not what the Bible says, although that's what a lot of people think to mean. So yeah, we had some good discussion about that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was a really good conversation. So love to have you guys. Again, generational sin is one of those things where, there's a lot of shows we do where it's like, man, it's not a super sexy topic, right? I mean, it's not gonna trend on YouTube, but it's important stuff. And generational sin is something that I think a lot of people don't know about. And as parents, we should know what generational sin means, what the Bible says about it. And, in short form, it basically is there's a pattern of temptation that Satan uses within your family. Every family has it. It's not 100% guaranteed. But if you're honest as you look back over your family, it might be addiction, it might be sexual immorality, it might be pride, it might be women who are given over to being controlling. It might be men who are given over to being abusive. There's any number of sin issues that can plague a family that you see plaguing them over generations. And so for us, as we raise our kids, we want to be aware of that so that we can raise our kids up to recognize that and hopefully avoid it.
Yeah.
Right? It's good. Yeah. Sean asks a question here, and Sean, you're gonna have to give me a little bit of further guidance on this. So the question says, do you think we're in the times of Sodom and Gomorrah? So you're gonna have to help me with what you mean by that, because Sodom and Gomorrah was a real time. There's a story in the Bible with Abraham, and Abraham's nephew Lot lived in a town called Sodom, and there were actually two towns next to each other called Sodom and Gomorrah. And Sodom and Gomorrah had chosen to enter into lives of idolatry and sin. And because of that, the Lord came to Abraham and said, hey, I'm going to wipe them out. And so Abraham, to his credit, intervened on behalf of Sodom and Gomorrah and said, Lord, if you can even find, he started at, I think, 100 people. If you can even find 100 people in these cities, will you spare them? That are righteous, thank you. Will you spare them? And the Lord said, I will. And there's this back and forth between Abraham and God where he goes 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, gets down to 10. Lord, if there's even 10 people of righteousness, can you find them?
Will you spare them?
Will you spare them? And the Lord says, yeah, I'll do it. And ultimately, Sodom and Gomorrah are destroyed. And so that was a real historical time.
But Lot and his family got out because of the Lord.
Right. And because of Abraham intervening on their
behalf.
Yes. Yep. Right. Super interesting story. So that was a real biblical time. Sean, you may be reading, so he says, where the world is now, and all the fighting and senseless destruction. So yeah, so I see what you're saying. So I think maybe in a roundabout way, you're asking, because Sodom and Gomorrah comes up again in Revelation and some of the prophecy that is found in the New Testament. And so maybe the question is, do I think that we're living in the end times now, meaning like the times, like is the world about to end? And here would be my answer to that. And I want to answer it biblically, so that you understand. That I would encourage you to go back and read it for yourself so that you can see it. But in Daniel, which is in the Old Testament, if you look at the book of Daniel and you look at the prophecy that God gave to Daniel, so God downloads this big sort of prophecy to Daniel about the end times. And basically what God says is there's going to be 7 periods of 70 years. So 490 years. And at the end of that 490-year period, that's it. Then the end will begin. So if you count in 490 years from the time of Daniel's life, on that 490th year, do you know what you will arrive at? Do you know where you will arrive at? Have you heard this? Yeah, that's right. You say it.
Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus' birth. So at the end of that 490-year period from Daniel to the year, Jesus was born. And so
in times.
That's right. So if you think of the timeline of history running parallel, right? And if this line here is the end times, then that 490 years got us to here, right? This is a cliff. So once we go past it, we're in the end times and it's over for humanity. But what happened is God, because of his grace, he sent Jesus Christ at the end of that 490-year period. Jesus lived the perfect life, died for our sins, that we might have an opportunity to have our sins taken by him. That was what his death and resurrection on the cross meant for us. And so if we're willing to submit our lives to him and say, Lord, I know I deserve nothing but eternal separation from you in hell, but I desire relationship with you. I want to turn from my wickedness to you as my Lord and Savior, accept the gift you offered on the cross of grace through faith in you. That faith meaning, even though you didn't see it happen, even though we can't see Jesus, we know the hope that we have because of the words that he gave us in the Bible.
And that there's nothing you can do except faith that will cancel your sin, that will allow you into eternity. There's not enough good deeds that you can do. There's not enough money that you can give. There's nothing you can do to save yourself.
That's right.
For a relationship with the Lord, or to get in heaven or any of that.
That's right. So the problem was, as that 490-year period ended from Daniel's life, human beings had no hope of salvation because we were sinful human beings, and God, the holiness of God, just simply can't exist around sin. So at the end of that 490-year period prophesied in Daniel, Jesus Christ comes, lived the perfect life, is resurrected. At that point, everything was done that needed to be done in order for the end of humanity. So in roughly 2033 AD, everything was done that needed to be done in order for the end time to happen. Sorry, 33. Thank you. 030, right after Jesus' death and resurrection. So it would have been 33 AD, right? Roughly in that neighborhood. Jesus wasn't born right at 0 AD. But right around that period, everything was done that needed to be done in order for the end of the world to come. And so the question is, why didn't it? And I think the only answer to that, Sean, is because God continues to have mercy on humanity and continues to desire that more and more and more and more people would come to him. So rather than allowing earth to get what we deserve, which is to be given over to war and destruction and the things that we see will be the natural state of human beings once the Lord pulls the church out at the rapture, he continues to have mercy on us and say, man, I want relationship with Sean. I want relationship with Andrea. I want relationship with Nathan. So I will hold back the end of humanity in an effort that everyone would be able to come to me and have a relationship with me. So are we living in the end times? Well, the answer to that ever since Jesus' death and resurrection is yes, we are living in the end times even now. Now, when you read Revelation and the seals and the trumpets and all of those things, those have not started happening yet. I believe that if you read Revelation, what you see is that the first thing that happens that will kick off that time of tribulation is that the Lord will remove Christians from the earth in an event we call the rapture. And right. What the Bible teaches about the rapture is in a moment like that, we'll just be gone. If you truly are submitted to Christ and are sealed by his blood, then in a moment you'll be gone.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine the just think of just that, right? Forget all of the rest of the craziness that we know will go on in Revelation, the wars and the disease and the destruction, and just think about what that would do if in a moment everyone who was a Christian around you was gone. It'd be crazy.
I mean, there'd be planes falling out of the sky and
right,
car accidents and
right,
workers that aren't there anymore.
That's right.
And
That's right.
craziness.
Yeah, it will be crazy. I mean, just that in and of itself will be crazy. And the tragic part for me, guys, and it's why Andrew and I really have a heart for equipping the church, right? Which is really what I hope our podcast is all about: is equipping you as married couples, dating couples, parents, equipping you with biblical knowledge so that you can live out God's best for your life. Because the thing that creeps me out, I think, about the rapture is not the thought of me being gone in an instant. I think that'll be really pretty cool. It's how many people are going to realize, who are going to think that they were good to go and they weren't. And that makes me sad. So, all right. Revelation talks about the last 10,000 days, wars and rumors of wars. Yeah, that's what you're right. That it does talk about that. And that's what I was talking about. So, Sean, I believe, and there are plenty of biblical scholars that differ, so I'm not trying to be dogmatic about this, but I believe when you read Revelation, it makes it clear that the first thing that God does at the time of that we're going to enter into that final tribulation 3-year period, or sorry, not 7-year period, is that the church will be raptured up, taken up into heaven with Him in a moment. And feel free to go look at this yourselves. But my part of my biblical basis for that is the word for the church in the New Testament is a word called ecclesia, and Jesus uses that word through John in the beginning of Revelation up until the moment of the rapture, and then that word is not used again in the entirety of the discussion of the tribulation until there's talk of Jesus coming down and bringing the church, ecclesia, with him, which I find really interesting that the word ecclesia would be used in there, that word church, but then not used again during the entirety of the tribulation period, which is fascinating because you would think that John would talk of it. In John's vision, he would have seen, like, here's what's going on with the church. But the church isn't found in Revelation after the rapture until the very end when Jesus comes back down. So that's part of my biblical basis for that. But there are others too, and certainly, Sean, we could talk about that some more. I love talking about that. So, I mean, here's the point, guys. All of us need to be serious about what our personal relationship with the Lord looks like, right? Being honest with ourselves. There's no need that we would ever need to guess. Praise the Lord. He made it so clear in his word, right? I mean, Romans says, if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. It's a promise. If you do that, you will be saved. So we don't have to guess. And man, I pray that anybody that's listening to this would take some time to seriously think about where they at with the Lord. And if you come to a place where you go, man, I'm not sure where I'm at with the Lord, please, please, please reach out to us through Facebook, through YouTube, comment in this video, go over to our Facebook page. We don't make money off of this channel. So I'm not trying to get you to do that because I want to make money. I want you to do that because when that end days time happens that Sean's talking about, I want to be able to see you there. So, yeah. Awesome. Okay. So we usually play a little bit of a game. We're already over time. Thanks to some great questions from Sean. I really appreciate you bringing those. I love having discussion with you guys here on the channel. So thanks so much for bringing that. We are going to hop off because we've got some content to work on for this week. So guys, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you being here. Love the opportunity to catch up with everybody. If you have additional questions, please feel free to put them in the comments of this video. We'll check those out. Or you can start a new post over on our Facebook page. That's Marriage by Design Podcast on Facebook. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. And remember, God is for your family. Have a good day.